All right, everybody, how you doing? How you doing? So we are here with another Corporate America Boss episode. So I am here with my brother, my close friend, my compadre. I'm the oldest of all my brothers and sisters, so this is like my big brother that I never had, big brother from a different mother.
Yes, sir.
So I again, as you all know, the purpose of this podcast, of these videos, Corporate America Boss. The book is all about becoming a boss within yourself and being able to position yourself to where you are the next candidate for the next promotion. Or even if it's not at the current company you're at, maybe positioning yourself to be able to get other opportunities elsewhere. But it's more about not just having the mindset of just being just an employee there, but becoming an actual corporate America boss. So this is the very first interview in this podcast where we are going to be actually interviewing other corporate America bosses, because it ain't just about me. I'm just the messenger delivering the message. But this is someone who has had plenty of success in the corporate America field. And again, I want to be able to have as many other people's stories that we can be able to share with this. So I introduce you guys to the one, the only, Mr. Derrick Lowe.
Oh, that was me? That introduction. I'm like, where he at? Where he coming in? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate
Thanks for having
it, bro.
me, man.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it,
having
man.
me.
So again, like I said, we're not trying to make this like an interview at a job. It's just more conversational. I know you read the book, and I just want to just be able to get your feedback on it and kind of learn a little bit about your story with some of the principles about the book as well. So before I let him go ahead and share his story, I'm gonna go ahead and give my man his flowers right quick, just to let y'all know that you ain't just talking to just anybody here on this podcast. I just want y'all to know that, we ain't bringing no scrubs on this podcast. We ain't bringing no scrubs. So, he been with his company for about 12 years, 13 years. What is your current position or current title?
My current position is Manager of Testing and Commissioning Engineering, and I work for the local utility industry.
Got you. Okay. So I'm just going to rattle off some of his promotions so y'all can know that you ain't just dealing with just, any average Joe that I just picked up on the street, but I want y'all to know, like, I'm getting credible quality people. And for 3.5 years, he was the electrical engineering technician. Got promoted, which is why he's on here, Corporate America Boss. And once he got promoted from there, then he was the senior electrical engineering technician. Now, as you see in the previous position that he got promoted from, he was there for 3.5 years and then got promoted. So I want you guys to be able to see that, it's not necessarily, sometimes people get the mindset thinking that, okay, I gotta be here for 10 years, 15 years. Like, it ain't about necessarily the timeline, but it's the individual that you are, because you never know when that opportunity is going to become available. There may be a position that the company never even had before, and they just created because they realized that they needed it. So got promoted, and then was in that position for 3.5 years as well. Starting to notice a trend with this 3.5 year thing. I think
they say when you're uncomfortable, you gotta grow.
That is true. Absolutely. So after that promotion, then he got promoted to general electrical engineer. Had that position. Now he really outdid himself on this one, because he had this position, this title, and then he got promoted again 1.5 years later. So he said, I'm done with that 3.5 promotion stuff. Like, now I'm going to get promoted at 1.5 years. So he got that promotion, and then he became promoted as well again at manager. Right. And he was at that position for 2.5 years. So as you can see, he cutting that timeline. My man's ain't messing around here. Derrick ain't playing. And then that is his current position that he's in. So as you can see, that was only with the company for 11, 12 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm probably missing some more.
I had 4 internships. Well, actually 6, but 4 internships with this actual department.
Okay.
And all of the promotions you're speaking of is within one department as well. So
got you. So y'all can see he put in the groundwork. He put in the groundwork. So I mean, again, this podcast, these videos is about leveling up yourself. I'm pretty sure, and I know he's gonna tell the story a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you ain't just get that just because they was like, oh, we gotta pick somebody, so here you go. Like, I'm pretty sure that Derrick was the type of individual that they were looking for these positions. And especially when you get in certain companies, when you get to these Fortune 500 companies, once you get promoted multiple times, like, okay, that pretty much says like this person is the man. This or woman. I'm not, or a woman, or the woman is the man, but they're not going to keep promoting the same person multiple times if this is an individual that's just like everybody else. So like I said, we're just gonna rattle off a couple questions from my man Derrick. And again, I want you all to be able to hear his story. And so you all can, because some of y'all might not be able to relate to me. I have a majority sales background, but some of you all might be in the engineering field, or maybe you want to be in the electrical engineering field. So this is more about you all seeing that there's so many corporate America bosses out here, and I'm going to expose you all to all of those people. So first question I got, Derrick, is just from you reading the book, like what's some of your thoughts and feedback just on the book as a whole?
Well, looking at the book, I can kind of see how you broke down the chapters. But what I really like is like the sub chapters that you put on there.
Mm-hmm.
So you had your mindset, and you had a little scripture at the bottom to kind of tie into what that title is about.
Yeah.
So going through all of your chapters, I'm like, yep, I can see mindset. Yep, I can see chapter 2 with what's your work ethic. As far as what makes your manager's jobs easy. Like I'm hitting these. I'm like, I can see all of these. But it was really nice to see like your point of view as well. Mm. Like I had never had a conversation or got in depth like you got in depth as far as your book when talking to other individuals about their career and their career development.
Okay.
So that was really good to kind of see some of our similarities and some of our differences as well.
Okay.
How we still made it still with corporate America.
Absolutely. I mean, that was one thing that I just started really realizing, like as I started meeting and networking with individuals like yourself and other people, I started realizing like everybody's stories are a little bit different, mm-hmm. but everybody that's been promoted multiple times and getting these positions, the main ingredients are the same. Yeah. You might sprinkle different toppings on the cake. You may have different, flavors, yeah. But the ingredients is still the same. The eggs, the batter, the mixing it, like it's all still the same. And that was really the message that I was really, really trying to deliver. So definitely. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
So let me ask you, from the book, was there any specific chapters that really resonated the most with you, or brought back kind of like any memories for you while you was reading from your story as well?
If I have to pick just one chapter, I have to asterisk chapter 3. So I believe it was my job is to make your job easier.
Yep.
So it wasn't that title per se that really got me, but it was the guts that you put in that chapter. Okay. So and in my career, we call it low hanging fruit. The mundane situation. So I believe you referenced the transportation industry and your current boss at the time.
Yep.
You noticed that this man had a trend. As he would take some time away from his daily schedule to make sure that the loads and everything is looking good. And that took some time. You as his assistant, he didn't have to ask you for that. You kind of keyed in and picked up on that.
Yep.
So we call that low-hanging fruit. If that's something that you can knock out without somebody telling you, go ahead and knock that out, because that's going to be an extra tick mark, when it comes for ratings, when it comes for promotions, or anything that has something to do with a bonus. Okay. Towards the end of the year, they're going to think, well, Jamere did go above and beyond and do X, Y, Z versus John that just did his normal job. They still making the same salary neck and neck, but for some reason, Jamere's doing above. Let's give him the promotion instead. That's going to give you something that's going to give you something ahead of someone else. That honestly resonated with me a lot, because like I said, the low-hanging fruit, and believe it or not, consistency. You kind of tie it in with chapter 5 with being on time and being early and everything. But consistency is a big thing. So if you don't showing up on time 2 out of the 3 days out the week, that's not consistent.
Exactly.
If you showing up always consistently early, they can count on you to do that, to take it to the next step. Exactly. So consistency had a lot to do with it as well.
And one thing I learned about with consistency is that it's the very hardest in the beginning. But once you do it and you're actually doing it for your own personal growth and development, because let's be clear, the chapter 3 talking about specifically on making your job easy for your boss. My job is to make your job easy. We're not saying be no suck up. Like let's just be very clear. There is a very thin line between being a suck up and being reliable, the one person that your employer can depend on. That was something, because in the very beginning it's the hardest because it's something new.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And when you say consistent, that's something that's repetitive. It was something new. It's not repetitive yet, so it's going to be hard at the beginning.
It's literally like riding a bike. Your first couple times you scrape your knees, like you trying to remember, like, wait, one foot in front of the others, keep level. Then after a while, I mean, I can't remember the last time I rode a bike, and I'm sure if I had a bike right now, I could still do it. Like it's now become
muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. Yeah. I mean, that's something that people sometimes think muscle memory is just in the realm of sports
or physically.
It's
not just physically.
It's not. It's the muscle memory mentally is probably the biggest thing, because even physically for muscle memory, there's gonna come a certain point in Father Time that physically stuff is gonna wear down and weaken, and you ain't gonna be able to do things the way you used to. But mentally, if you keep constantly keeping that sharp, I mean, you can be with a company for 30 years, but you got promoted 10, 15 times. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people really realize, is that a lot of people sometimes have a mindset of, well, that's not my job. That's not my position. And when I was a manager in corporate America, like, that used to drive me nuts. When I heard somebody say, well, oh, that's not my job title, so I'm not going to do it. You're right. It's not your job title. You don't have to do it. But just now know, when it comes to promotion time, I don't have to give you the promotion. Like, it's little things like that it makes you really realize, like, how important those small little things that you do. So I mean, you hit it like right on the head. I saw you mention too. So I know you said if you had to pick just one. So what was the runner up for you?
Mindset, chapter 1.
Okay.
So when you said working the system, I've been on both sides.
Got you.
Okay, so I like that you were very honest, which was meeting your quotas and your sales.
I didn't want to come across like I'm not human. You know,
I like that.
I didn't want to come across that I'm not human. Like, once you kind of get that pressure put on you, and nobody's a perfect angel 100% of the time. So I wanted to make sure that just as much as I'm telling people my story, I also want to make people to realize, like, I'm just like you. I want to make sure that I'm putting my flaws out there as well. Yeah.
And like I said, it resonated with me because I am I wouldn't say antisocial. What do they call it? Introvert. Introvert. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to my work ethic or what I'm doing, when you compare me to my engineer next to me, this person may be saying, hey, look at me. I'm doing this. Hey, look. Hey, oh yeah, I did this. Let me see this email of this report of me doing that.
Right.
That's not the type of person I am. I'm going to do the same exact thing that engineer is doing, going above and beyond and everything, but I'm not causing the attention to say, hey, look at me. Gotcha. And a lot of my mentors told me in this industry that I have to do that. You have to sometimes flag that attention to you, because otherwise you're going to be, in the shadows of the individuals that that's what I took at working the system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know what's going to get their boss's attention outside of going above and beyond that technical. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look at me, bring that attention to me. Right. So I had to kind of learn to put, my personal and my introvertness to the side and try to express myself. I had to market myself in this case. You know what I'm saying? Because my work ethic is there and I'm getting my paycheck consistently. That's not the issue. Absolutely. But to get those promotions to stand out, because it's 30 of us, was 30 of us in a department for promotions and things. So you have to do something to stand out from other individuals.
Absolutely. You really, I mean, I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because that just brought on a story that I remember in corporate America that I didn't mention in the book. Man, that's crazy how similar some of our stories are. And a lot of this stuff we're just now hearing from each other for the first time. Because I remember I was working at I know that I was in automotive sales for about close to 2.5, almost 3 years. And I remember one of the things that they used to talk about doing was the importance of, like, outside marketing. Okay. So going out, talking to different, insurance companies, talking to local different vendors. So when they have somebody that in need of a car, they can refer your business. Right. So in my mind, I always saw that as, like, of course, like that, like duh. It's a no. Like, you ain't got to tell me to do that if I want sales and it just so happens to be a slow month or whatever the case may be, like you said, low hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I may only have maybe 5 or 6 personal sales from my personal efforts, but if I get a body shop to send me 2 referrals, this insurance agency to send me 2, and then now this local other body shop send me 1.
Yes.
Now my 6, 7 sales then turned into 12 or 13.
Yes, sir.
They don't care at the end of the day how you got the sales,
but you got it.
Exactly. That you got them. And so I remember, damn, that's so funny you said that. I never thought about this before, but I remember one time when I would go out there, I made it faithful. For me, it was every Wednesday.
Okay.
From 10 o'clock, that's when I noticed when we were kind of like the slowest in the dealership.
Okay.
So from every Wednesday from like 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that's when I'm out there marketing.
Okay.
And I would do it for a few weeks, and then I would go back and tell my managers about, the places I went to, the places I went to, and the conversations that we had.
Right.
And then one time, one of my managers told me, he was like, "Hey, do you mind just typing me up a report?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "All right, cool, like no problem." Like I'm not thinking nothing of it at all. So I just tell him, "Yeah, I went to this shop, talked about boom, boom, boom." The next day, a mass email went out to all the sales reps in the region talking about, "Hey, this is what you're supposed to do when you're out marketing."
This is what excellence look like. We call it whale.
But the crazy thing is that I felt so uncomfortable because I'm an introvert like you. Mm-hmm. So I actually reached out to that manager. I was like, "Hey, like, I didn't know you was doing. I was just doing it because you asked me to.
Yeah.
Like, I figured you probably needed it to show maybe your bosses to know like what's the feedback and what we getting out there.
These are my peers.
But these are my right. Like, I don't want no beef. I don't want no beef. I'm cordial with everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as you ain't immediately threatening my family or disrespecting my family, like for me, I feel like I'm a pretty easygoing person to get along with, and I like to be able to still build relationships with people. Yeah.
Now let me go back to this. Your mindset. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now let me flip it. What if you wasn't the one that was made, a good example out of, but you were one of the other individuals, and you received this email from your boss from another individual that is the new Jamere? Right. How would you feel receiving that? What is your mindset? Would you, Jamere thinks he's good, or would you, oh man, I should have been on it? Like, what would be your mindset?
That's crazy. You said that. I want y'all to know right now, none of this is scripted. Because when I called my manager, he was like, "Hey, let's just schedule a meeting so we can talk about it." Okay. And literally, what he told me, he said, "Look, I get that you cool with everybody. He was like, look, anybody that feels some type of way about you for doing this, and you didn't." He said, if you would have sent the email out saying, "Look at me, do this," he said, "You had no clue I was going to send this out. I'm sending this out to," and actually what happened was he sent it to his direct supervisor. His direct supervisor is the one who sent it out. This needs to be shared, yes. Exactly. So he told me, he was like, "Look, at the end of the day, they don't like you because of that. It's because deep down inside, you're bringing out their insecurities about their work ethic. You're bringing out their insecurities about what they should be doing." He said, "But what you don't realize," he said, "the reason why we wanted you to do this is because those are going to be the low-hanging fruit of people that they're probably not going to be here for long."
The 1%ers, yeah.
Exactly. He said, "But the individuals that we wanted to see, the reason why we did this is because we want those people who are hungry, determined, and if we want them to see, like, okay, you all know Jamere performs at a certain level. He's known as being one of the top performers. But we want you all to see this is what it takes to get it done." But he said sometimes when it's coming from us as managers, it just sounds like, he literally said it sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. Yes, sir. It just sounds like that because you're like, "Oh, you my manager, that's what you're saying." But he said when they see their peers doing it, and he said especially because you're not the type that looking for the attention, now it's going to make them realize like, "Oh, he was doing this the whole time without nobody requiring him to." Because they used to tell people, "Hey, the importance of marketing. I was the only one that specifically said every week at this time I'm doing it. Period, point blank. So no, that's crazy you said that, because if I was that person, I would have probably, it depending on the type of mindset again I would have been, but if I would have been somebody that's just coming in with the regular 9-to-5 mindset of just I'm clocking in, clocking out. Right. Oh man, that Jamere dude, he think he's somebody, like he extra, like stop doing so much, like you doing too much, like you making us look bad. But then the other person would have been like, "Oh, bet that's what he doing. Oh, okay. Like how you do this? Where you do it at? Like what y'all be talking about?"
So like you would have been like Jamere, Walton. Oh, there it is, 773. Let me call it there. We going to lunch. You gonna drop some more nuggets on me?
Exactly.
Maybe I can help you out, and it to be a partner. You know what I'm saying?
I want y'all to really hear that though, because that's when you see somebody at the level of where you want to be at. And I talk about that. I think it's chapter 4 when I say it's about to make your decisions today based on where you're going, not where you at.
Mm-hmm.
If I know I want to get promoted to assistant manager, I need to find who's the top assistant manager. I was notorious for this.
Yeah.
Let me buy you lunch.
Yeah.
I was notorious. Ain't nobody turning down free lunches.
Yes.
Let me buy you lunch. And I used to tell them, look, hey, it's your choice, but we ain't doing no Red Lobster. No, nothing like that, but it's your choice. All I want to know is game. I want to figure out what your story is, what I can learn from you. Like if you, part of being a corporate America boss is that you, in order to first be a good boss, you have to first be a great follower. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's one thing that really a lot of people really miss, because the term follower makes them think like
it's weak.
Like I'm not independent.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can still take the good and the bad from everybody's situation, but you have like it's no. I've always had this mindset, and you've known me for a while to know this. If somebody tells me that they went down the street, made a left, made a right, and then their entire wheel came off with that pothole, why do I need to go down that same street? Yeah. Oh wait, so you said you went down the street, made a left, made a right. Okay, so I'm gonna make a left, and then I'm gonna make another left to avoid that pothole. Yeah. So I want you all to really understand the importance of finding the people that are at the positions you at. That doesn't mean that you are going to be like them. Mm-hmm. You might have a manager at a certain position that at work they are a star, but personally after work, like they have totally completely different values than you. They have totally completely different morals than you.
Yes.
You don't got to take that from them. Mm-hmm. You just take the good of the work part so you can position yourself to learn and get the game that you wanted. But again, it's about value. You can't tell somebody, hey, like just tell me everything. Tell me what value are you bringing in? Yeah. Like I used to literally, I would literally help some people at a job and say, all right, like I'll do this task for you, or I'll do that. Like, look, all right, let's bet. You don't want lunch? Cool. Like, let me do this for you.
Right.
Let me do your follow-up emails. Let me do your paperwork organization. Something.
Save you some time.
Let me save you some time. All
yeah.
I'm asking for is game in return. So that's crazy. That you said that, man. That's really crazy. So let me ask you too, just from some of the stuff that we mentioned and talked about, how valuable do you think this information in the book really is? Because my main purpose of why I was doing this, like a lot of people, so only some of my close family and friends know, but I've probably been sitting on this for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too.
Told y'all this is my big brother. He don't let me get away with nothing. But
2 years.
But literally, what really I started noticing how with this COVID pandemic, that it forced a lot of companies to create automated systems without as many people.
Okay.
And I remember talking to my wife about this literally in the first couple months while we was all quarantined. I said, some of these companies are going to realize how efficient these systems are. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be like, wait, why should I pay employee salary, employee bonuses, employee benefits? Because y'all don't really know, but them benefits are expensive to corporations. Pay those benefits when I can just keep this system going the way I did during COVID, still make potentially
the same
revenue.
Cutting your overhead.
Bingo. I'm like, oh, like if you are literally just, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, I'm pretty sure you have, a lot of grocery stores have doubled, if not increased, they self-checkout. Bro. Like is now most grocery stores now, you'd be lucky to see 4 cashiers. Lucky. And the only time I probably see more than 4 cashiers was when it was either Christmas or like Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah. And those are just seasonal. And I'm not saying that to paint a bad image for anybody. I'm saying that to state that the times are changing, and like a lot of times people take it personal and they say, oh, well, that's just they don't want to pay nobody. But from a business perspective, if you're not adding me no value to the organization, and if you are just like everybody else, if I got 15 people on my staff and all of y'all are the same, but I got 3 or 4 of y'all that are like my superstars that I can rely on the most, I'm going to just give them 4 superstars more money, more benefits to stay, give them maybe give positional promotions, But then the rest of y'all that's just like everybody else, I can cut half of y'all. For what? Y'all just like everybody else. What's the purpose of...
Yeah, like you said, the self-checkout, you don't have to take breaks. You don't have to worry about what time they're going to get there. You don't have to worry about if somebody didn't show up. And if you got a missing shift, like the machine is there to replace a lot of work. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the human interface of a customer. You know what I'm saying, from a cashier or whatnot. But like I said, with these new companies coming in, they trying to be more innovation.
Exactly. It might not feel like the most good thing for the people, but y'all got to remember at the end of the day, these companies are about business. Yeah. It ain't personal. It's really not. And I'm sure some of y'all saw during COVID when they let a lot of people go and furloughed. It wasn't personal, but this is the situation we dealing with. So that's why it's important to really focus on the mindset of becoming a corporate America boss, is just because it's way bigger than just, I just want to get this one promotion. It's really a lifestyle, I call it. Because what some of y'all don't probably know is that what I saw is a lot of people who were corporate America bosses, the opportunities now at other places, other companies doubled, if not tripled. Because now those type of individuals were so needed now for these corporations, because they're like, wait a minute, I don't just need just people to fill spots now. I got systems in place to fill spots. Yeah. I need a certain type of individual. Okay, you know what? We used to pay $50,000 a year, but if this is your criteria, this is your resume, you tell us what you want to pay. Okay, I'll pay you $60, $65. Name your price. Name your price.
And I tell you, in the utility industry, it's very well known to work for a company for 5 to 7 years, especially in a utility. Okay. To leave, go to another company, and come back to that same utility and be much more marketable than if you would have stayed there the entire bridge time. Okay. So it was almost a game that individuals was almost doing that in the utility industry for a short period of time. But now they're kind of putting a kibosh to that because, you know, they're recognizing game, you know, so they're realizing what's going on. But at the same time, you still increase your value by learning something else from a different company. Exactly. Even if you are in corporate America A, believe it or not, corporate America B may be thriving just as much as you, but they're doing something different that you can take some nuggets from and bring it back to A, you know what I'm saying, or vice versa. So there's always opportunities to learn, especially from different corporates. That makes a good. So man, that's crazy. It's nuts. You bringing back so many memories now. That you said that. So I remember I interned with a company. Mm-hmm. I did a business internship with a company in college, Illinois State University, by the way. Yeah, shout out. For the
plug. But I got the business internship there, and what I did was afterwards they offered me they said, hey, like, you can come back. We'll take you full time when you graduate, because I only had another semester to go. Okay. But at the time, I knew I wanted to be in sales. Right. I just didn't know what I wanted to sell. I didn't know what company I would be in, but I knew sales was the thing that fit me the most. Okay. And so what I did was I ended up doing that door-to-door sales position, which everybody and their mama thought I was like crazy. They like, why would you wait? But you got all these other offers that's indoors. Why would you do door-to-door? And for me, it was just, again, about knowing where you're going, not where you're at. And for me, I figured, well, while I'm fresh out of college, I'm still living with my mom at the time, expenses are low, I knew that there's no better sales experience that's going to punch me in the mouth more than door-to-door.
You got a point
then door-to-door.
You got a point
Then door-to-door. And then I'm doing door-to-door on the south side of Chicago on the wintertime. So I was really, snow. My first day was a blizzard outside. But I was really doing it to test myself, but mostly because I knew, I'm like, if I want to be in sales, let me learn this now. So then I did that, went there for stayed there for a few months. Then I went to another position where then I was doing telemarketing, which to me, again, everybody looking at me like, what you doing? Like this, you got all these other positions that on paper look established. Okay. Like these are sales positions that somebody with a high school diploma could get. Like, what are you doing?
But you want to go in that ditch with a shovel.
literally.
Yes, sir.
And I just knew, okay, door-to-door sales is the hardest one. The next one after that is telemarketing. Okay. Cold calling. Yeah. I'm learning door-to-door sales skills, but there's going to be some things I'm going to learn from a cold calling standpoint. I'm not going to get door-to-door sales. So I did it for a little bit, and then I ended up going back to the company that I interned with. At this time when I did that, I interned out there by my college campus.
Okay.
But this time I was interning. I went to the full-time position, same company, but in the Chicago area.
Okay.
It was night and day, the difference of my sales ability in the same company from when I was an intern there to then I had that door-to-door sales experience, that cold calling. I mean, literally, it's not a cakewalk, meaning that it was easy. It was a cakewalk in terms of the skills needed to be successful there. Because for me, I was like, a customer telling me no with insurance sales was nothing. I'm like, I'm used to door to door, somebody's sicking dogs on me. Somebody, it's below zero outside. And then even with telemarketing, I'm like, you have any idea the stuff people say to you over the phone when you're a telemarketer calling them?
Over the phone.
You ain't face to face. People get very brave over the phone when you cold calling. Yeah. And it helped me just take off. Yeah. And from the outside looking in, it looked like, oh man, you just got lucky. It's like, no, you don't actually just know the previous work that I put in.
Through. Yeah. And I noticed you said you still had one semester of school left. Do you think that had anything to do with that one semester left when you had that internship of school?
What you mean?
Did school have anything to do with that? With your catapultness of careerness when you came back to the job as full time?
Of going to college?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Because I've always been a big component with college of. I've been a big component of there's certain career fields that you need to go to college for. I feel like engineering, lawyer, I don't want no doctor that just barely got passed about to do surgery on me. I want the doctor that had the best grades. But I've always felt like the college experience was the most valuable of college because of it gives you another 4 to 5 years of growing up, of figuring yourself out. Plus, it also gives you another 4 to 5 years of learning how to manage being broke. It really gives you so many, lessons to where I never regret the college experience because of the fact that of the person that it helped me become and develop into. There's certain scenarios like you're on your own. Yeah. You don't got mommy and daddy there no more to just put out your fires for you. You got to figure out
even
stuff
if
yourself.
You do, it ain't gonna be as quick as
it ain't. It might be a good 2-3 hour ride, but by the time they get there, you didn't figure it out. So I definitely think that college experience for sure helped out and I think it helped out too because of the people you associate with. Yeah. I've always been a believer that especially when you're coming from the inner city and going into a college, especially when you're going to a predominantly white institution. That the individuals that are there that are similar as you, same background, came up in the same areas. You all might have a lot of differences, but at the end of the day, we're all here on college, spending money in college for a better future.
Common goal. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we didn't just come here just to chill and kick it. Now we enjoy chilling and kicking it at times,
but that's not why.
Not why we came here. And I've learned that sometimes your college friends and the people you meet throughout that time are some of the friends that stick with you throughout your lifetime. Because those are a lot of people that you started as kids and now y'all became young men and women together. Yeah. Literally. So no, I definitely for sure. But no, okay. So you said chapter 3 was
chapter 3 is my top,
and then chapter 1
is my runner up, man. Mindset.
Yeah, mindset is a game changer for sure. I definitely think that. So let me ask you: are there any specific from this book? I did a lot about talking about. I didn't want to just talk about in this book about this is what you should do, and then that's it. I wanted to say this is what you should do, and then here's my story as proof as to what happened for me. Okay. Were there any specific chapters or any stories in any of the chapters that brought back any memories that you want to share that resonated from anything?
So earlier you brought up value. So you said, do I see this book bringing value to different individuals? But I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm sure you heard of the beauty statement, but in my eyes, value is in the eye of the beholder. Okay. So you can give me this book 20 years ago. Okay. Same information in it. I'm still going to go through my same life, but if I'm not ready to receive it, it can be the same value. but value to me is low at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it brings value to individuals that want to meet you there.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? The individuals that want the more. That I'm not saying that, you know what I'm saying, this is for it's not for everybody.
Right.
But it's for the individuals that definitely want to take it to that next step. That want to take it to the, you know, the next step. I would just say that.
Got it.
Definitely.
That was my intention behind it. It was you know, it's not to say do this career field, do this, do that, this the best one. It's just like, look, this is just for the individual and the person that you may not even know what you want to do. You just want more. You want more than what you see out there. And I feel like in today's times in social media, a lot of people are getting the wrong image painted that the only way to have success and to make a certain income level is that you gotta go be an entrepreneur and start your own business. And obviously it's just because of, you know, the new times of technology and the internet. Like even for myself, being a full-time real estate agent, I've always been entrepreneurial minded. Like even back when I was in third grade, my grandmother would give me packs of gum, and I'm like, "You just giving me these packs?" She's like, "Yeah." Then all of a sudden, I start seeing how valuable gum was in the classroom, and I'm like, "I give you a piece for $0.25, or I give you a pack for $1." Before I know it, I'm creating a little candy. I always did. And then one business that was big for me was Pokemon cards. When Pokemon was big when we were kids,
you were selling cards.
I was selling Pokemon cards.
I still got my cards somewhere around here.
I used to. I was the one person out of everybody group that was getting Pokemon cards, but I was getting them literally to sell them.
Yeah.
And I would go to different friends, go to different people to get game on what Pokemon card is the most valuable. So the holographics, those are the ones that's more valuable.
Yeah.
And literally, like, I remember one time my dad was telling me, he was asking me one time, he was like, "Yo, like, if I would have known like you was this into Pokemon, I would have got you some Pokemon toys and all this other stuff." I was like, no, I'm just in it for the cards. He like, "But if you're in it for the cards, then," I'm like, "No, you ain't getting it. I'm selling it." He like, my man. So for me, it's something that, you know, entrepreneurship is gonna have its ups and downs. That's just part of the game. Ups and downs in entrepreneurship is literally like saying you want to play in the NBA, but you don't want to go through strength and conditioning. Like it's part of it. But a lot of times people don't realize, like I've talked to some kids and I've talked to a lot of young people, and they say, "Well, I want to be an entrepreneur because, you know, I want to be able to make 6 figures. I want to be able to do this." And I'm like, you do know that you can make that money without doing this specifically, because there's another side to this social media is not showing you. And you have to really be somebody that you value more of the lifestyle of it and the freedom to do what you want to do, but you got to also be willing to take the lumps with it and the unknownness and the anxiety and the uncertainty. So it was just something that, like I said, I just really wanted people to really realize that even if you do want to be an entrepreneur, I'm letting you know right now, you can't be a successful entrepreneur if you're not a great employee. Like I know people at companies that I've worked at that they left the company and they regret leaving that company, wish they can go back because they thought it was the grass is green on the other side. But deep down inside, it was because they were lazy. Okay. But then there was other people who had the same corporate America boss spirit that I had, that same hustle spirit. They became entrepreneurs doing their own thing, and it took off because of the skills that they developed while in corporate America. So I want y'all to realize this is, even if you're somebody that wants to own your own thing one day, okay, if you say, I want to be able to own my own lawn care company. Okay, fine. Well, it might be a good idea to work for a lawn care company and learn the base. I feel like so many people don't realize, okay, if this is what you want to do, then kind of work backwards. Figure out exactly, again, like chapter 4 said, know where you're going, not where you're currently at. If I want to be an owner of this type of industry, then let me get a job in this industry, learn the fundamentals. So when you do go out on your field, you don't got to take as many lumps because you've already learned
on somebody else's dime.
Or you may realize that, oh, you know what? Okay, I thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur in this. Maybe I don't. Or I can now, you know, a lot of people don't realize, but every CEO needs a CFO. Every CEO of a company, they got a number 2, number 3 person that's easily making $400,000-$500,000 a year. I'm pretty sure the number 2, 3, 4 person at Chase, We don't know who they are, but I'm pretty sure income and lifestyle wise, they're doing pretty good for themselves.
Yeah, I would say
so. A lot of times, it's really just trying to paint this image to them of like, it's more about whether you want to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to be successful in corporate America. It's more about the person you become, you develop into, because it's on you at the end of the day. Even if the companies decide to fire you for something that's out of your control,
they still can't take that away from you.
Bingo. Now you can just carry that over to the next company. And one other thing that I wish I probably would have put in the book, but I'll probably put that in the next one. But little plug there, but is really the ability of understanding that your brand in the company, it can carry over more than just that company. You could be my manager of the company, and maybe this company I'm hitting the ceiling. Okay. But let's say that you decide to go work for another company. Now, what happens if you get in a managerial position? They're gonna ask you, "Hey, who was at the previous company that you was at that's just like you? That's similar." Oh, you know what, my boy Jamere, hold on, let me. Now, because of you developing that corporate America boss mindset, that lifestyle, now you literally got opportunities presenting themselves to you that literally it was just off of how you carried yourself. So that's why it's important to do that, because so many people want to be able to, once the promotion gets here, all right, now I'm gonna get on my best behavior. Now I'm gonna come to work on time. It's like, no, you fronting. You putting on, like, no, you putting on a bunch of makeup now. That's what you really doing.
Lipstick on the pig to make it look pretty.
If I couldn't depend on you when there wasn't no promotion, how am I gonna depend on you now? Because what y'all not realizing is the managers have just as much risk in who they put in these positions as you being in there. If you promote me to this position and I start doing terribly,
I still gotta answer.
You gotta answer to your superiors. Who is this dude? Why did you pick him? What were you thinking? Were you the right choice that we should have picked for this position?
Right, they questioning me at
now
this
they
point.
questioning you.
Right.
And even with you being a manager, let me ask you, Derrick, what's some of the things that you look for? Because I'm pretty sure if you haven't already, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be in a position to where you're gonna be doing the interviews. You're gonna be doing the hiring. You're already.
I am already.
So what are the things that that you're looking for, and does any of it relate as well to some of the stuff talking about in the book?
So with the way we do interviews, you can either have behavioral questions or situational based questions. Okay. So behavioral would be questions such as, tell me about a time XYZ.
Gotcha.
So that's an actual fact of something that you did, and we wanted to know the behaviors and the steps that you took to get to that.
Okay.
A situation type question would be, what if I put you in a situation with this? How would you XYZ? You know what I'm saying? So it's different types. Behavior, what you did in the past. Situation, what would you do if we put you in this situation? Okay. Now, based off of your answers, we're basing this off of the core competencies. Every company have core competencies. They may call it something different, but we call it core competencies. So exhibits courage, leads, promotes, and leverage inclusion. Drives innovation, shapes vision and leadership. Like, it's different things, different types of categories. And the goal of the candidate is to learn the core competencies of the company, for one, so that you can make sure that you are in line when you're answering these questions. And when you are answering the questions, try to check off as many core competencies by answering the question based off of those in a nutshell. Okay. Now, that's only, I would say, 50% of it. Okay, that's 50%. If you can give me the right answer, if you can, say everything correct, that's fine. The other 50% is behaviors.
Like the behavior that when they're there right now in the interview.
Did you show up to the interview on time? Did you follow instructions? Is your camera on? Are you got a neutral background? Like, are you following all of the instructions before the interview? Believe it or not, it's part of the interview as well.
Got you.
The interview don't start at 7:00 when you say, hello, my name is such and such. It's stuff that leads to that. Did you submit your resume? Did you know what I'm saying? There's other things to that. But what I'm specifically speaking about is the behaviors in how you answer your question. So, Jamere, tell me about a time where you pulled up to the pump at a gas station and there was no gas there. Oh, I pulled up there and I went and talked to the attendant. You need to have your gas pumps. That's not what we're looking for. That's not the type of, and believe it or not, people actually interview that way.
Are you serious?
Yes. So,
like how you just...
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Now, I'm not for sure if they think it's more relaxed or what, but we're looking at that as, okay, you're a hothead.
Emotionally unstable,
can't control your emotions. You know what I'm saying? So as an employee, would I want to deal with that as a manager? You may have answered the question right. Yeah, the attendant should have made sure that the gas pipes was on. That's correct.
Right.
But the way you went about it, that's the behavior. 9 times out of 10, behaviors is kind of hard to change. Behaviors start from when you're a little kid, a small child, what you get away with. What type of values and morals do your family put on you as you're growing up? All of that stuff resonate until when you get older. And you can tell by speaking with different individuals what type of upbringing.
So it's kind of hard to fake the behavior. It makes
especially for an hour and a half interview. You may fake it for 15, 20 minutes, but after the 4th or 5th question, it's going to come out eventually.
Yeah,
we got some professionals out there too, though, that still fall through the crack. But that's basically what we look for in candidates. Like I say, you can intelligent answer the question, technical wise, but what are also your behaviors on the flip side?
Got it. Okay. No, that brings up a good point, because I remember, I just remember some of my interviews being on, and I always remember like my mindset in these interviews was like, at the end of the day, I'm going to have complete faith, because I knew how I carried myself. I'm going to have complete faith that even if I stumble on a question, stutter, hesitate, get nervous, whatever, I can bank on the fact that you call anybody that worked with me or anybody that was my direct supervisor. It's going to, not only are they going to vouch for me, it's going to make you completely forget about the question I stumped on. Because I always knew that at the end of the day, that's just something of who I am. And okay, I might get a question wrong, or I might stumble on it, hesitate on it. It could just honestly just be nerves. And I've always just been a believer of, when I did them interviews, like, I've always been a believer of, like, when I ask, especially when they say name a time, like really taking a second to just pause and think. Because it's very easy to just come off the whiff with something, and before you know it, 2-3 minutes in, you're just rambling. But it's very easy to get caught up in a lie when you're rambling.
Because you're going around in circles and you try to fill the void. You try to fill it.
You don't even realize it. Your story don't even connect.
There's no penalty for taking time to gather your thoughts. There's no penalty for asking individuals to repeat the question or rephrase it.
Yep.
Okay, so the best thing to do is always tell the truth, for one, because like I said, it will come up eventually.
It will. It will.
And then just that short period of time, your credibility is being tarnished away as well.
Yep. So, absolutely. Okay.
Has a lot to do with it.
So let me ask you, what would you say, Derrick, other than money? Because obviously we know that's important for all of us. Not just money, just for the money's sake, but the things that it can provide for, the things you're able to do with family, with friends, the opportunities it brings. But other than money, what would you say is the thing or the things that keep you motivated? That keep you, because it's very easy once you get a certain amount of promotions to just get real comfortable and just be like, all right, like I'm here, I made it, I'm good. As long as I don't come in the company and say something stupid or do something stupid, like I'm good where I'm at now. What would you say is something that keeps you motivated?
I would say, especially in my manager position, pouring into others. Developing others, whether it's technical, whether it's career-wise, whether it's, hey, I saw that email that you sent and it had some pretty vulgar language in it, so why don't we do it this way instead of this way, so that you're perceived differently, because this is email. There's nothing, no tone, no nothing. It's just email. You know what I mean? So just pouring into others and developing others, and honestly, the non-solicited feedback that I get directly and indirectly to my managers or to my peers that I hear back as well, give me the motivation to keep going as well, bro.
Okay,
that's real big. That's real big.
That's dope. I mean, that's because that just means that you care more about not just developing yourself, but developing others. So.
And think about it. If I'm developing them, they're making my job, like you said, make the job easier, right? So if I'm developing in them, they're essentially making my job better as well. And I'm genuinely caring here. Exactly. You know what I mean? If I'm not caring, they pick up on that.
True. It's
Your
very
employees
easy.
pick up if you don't genuinely care. Believe me.
It's very easy to tell that energy for sure. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Real talk.
So, I mean, just to, I really, man, appreciate it. And I learned so much about your story I didn't know. You just made me just think about so many stories. Like, man, like,
I got the next book.
I got so many stories. I'm gonna definitely have to put in chapter 2. But sure. any last words or anything you want to tell to anybody that's looking to aspire to achieve in corporate America?
Just keep going. Definitely keep going. There's a lot of individuals out there that if you just ask a simple question, it'll open up a lot of doors and a lot of avenues for you. Even if it's not from that particular individual, maybe they can pair you up with somebody that can actually take you there. So just keep striving, keep going, and you will be a corporate America boss.
You heard it. Corporate America boss. It's about becoming and developing the boss within yourself. So again, this is the first of many corporate America interviews with other fellow corporate America bosses. My brother, I appreciate it.
Thanks for
I
having
hope
me,
y'all
man.
really took notes. If you wasn't taking notes, then you're probably never going to be a corporate America boss. So